Week 7 wide receiver tiers. Jeffrey, let's get it started. Week 7 must-start wide receivers. Give me the list, Jeffrey.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Davante Adams, Drake London, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, George Pickens, Rashee Rice, Nico Collins, Rome Odunze.
Amon-Ra St. Brown and JSN are obvious must-starts. I won't go through them. They're wide receiver 2 and 3 on the year. Let's keep it moving. Davante Adams was already 5th in opportunities this year, and now Puka Nacua is out. This man's going to dominate. And he has the most red zone targets in the league? Welcome back, elite Davante Adams. Drake London has had back-to-back games with over 100 yards and a touchdown. My man's giving you 25 fantasy points a game. Love to see the targets, 10 and 16 the last 2 weeks. Obviously firing him up. Welcome back, CeeDee Lamb. We missed you. He comes back from an ankle injury and he goes right back into your lineup. George Pickens did a fantastic job while CD was out. And yes, I think that they're going to split a little more than they were before, but I think CeeDee Lamb's still going to be that guy. That being said, I think they're going to bounce back and forth. It's not going to be every week is a CD week and Pickens get in where you fit in. I really do think some weeks are going to be bigger on Pickens and some weeks are going to be bigger on CD. But I still think CD is the alpha of the two. 1A, 1B. Justin Jefferson has had back-to-back games with 120 or more yards and 11 targets. And this won't stop me from starting him, but he does have a bad matchup. Quinyon Mitchell should be on him, and though that probably caps his upside a little bit, you still start Justin Jefferson, let's be real. He just may not score 30, but can they give me 20? Welcome back, Rashee Rice. Your 6-game suspension is over, and you get to slide right back into my starting lineup. I debated not having him in the must-starts, but honestly, I can't imagine having him on a roster and not starting him this week. I just can't. I got him as a top 10 play. The Chiefs have the second highest implied point total this week. They're 11.5-point favorites, and they want to get their guy the ball. He's been gone for 6 weeks. It's time to get him into the flow of things. I do think that Xavier Worthy and Travis Kelce take a bit of a hit because there's a new sheriff in town. His name is Rashee Rice. He's the new number 1. Nico Collins has had a touchdown in 3 of the last 4 games. The last game wasn't great, but don't forget, they were blowing out the Ravens. I think this team will be a little better after the bye week. Vegas has this as the 3rd lowest over-under, so not too high-flying, but he's the number 1. He should be fine. Rome Odunze has been the clear number 1 wide receiver on this team, averaging 38% of the wide receiver targets, but last week was a pretty even split. 5 for Rome, 5 for DJ, 6 for Olamide, I think 4 for Luther. I do know that a touchdown was called back due to a penalty for Rome Odunze, so he still would have had a nice game. But I'm curious after the bye week if they're going to even it out. So I'll be watching this week. But regardless, Rome is a must start. Tied for the most touchdowns per game. Fire him up. Moving on to the solid starts. Week 7, wide receivers, solid starts. Jeffrey?
Chris Olave, Courtland Sutton, Deebo Samuel, Jalen Waddle, Lad McConkey, Xavier Worthy, Brian Thomas Jr., AJ Brown, Tete Roa Macmillan, Stephon Diggs, Quentin Johnston, Michael Pittman Jr.
Chris Olave finally had a good game. He went 6 for 98, and I love the 10 targets. Targets really isn't what you have to worry about for him. He's had double-digit targets in 5 of the last 6 games. I mean, he's 2nd in targets on the year, 5th in receptions, 4th in end zone targets. They're getting him the ball, it's just not turning into many touchdowns. I think he's got 1 on the year. He's currently probable with the hip, but he was a full participant in Thursday practice, so I think he's going to be fine. Last week I told you Courtland Sutton was going to be like a vault, baby, locked down. And he was. He had Sauce Gardner all over him. But I'm going right back to the well. I'm not afraid of the Giants matchup like I was with Sauce Gardner last week. He's had 17 or more points in 3 of the last 4 games. Yeah, it's a low over-under, but they're projected to win by 7. Sutton's going to be fine. Deebo Samuel's had a touchdown in 2 of the last 3 games, but he was rough last week. 4 for 15. He's currently questionable with a heel injury. Didn't practice on Thursday. Definitely want to monitor that. It's going to be hard to sit him, though. This is a fantastic matchup. Goes up against the Dallas Cowboys, who allow the most fantasy points to the wide receiver this year. Terry McLaurin is also questionable, probably not going to play. This is the highest over-under of the week. Debo! I hope you healthy, dog. Because if you are, you going to ball out. Jalen Waddle has had back-to-back weeks with 95 yards or more. He's had 14 or more PPR points in 4 of the last 5 games. Touchdowns in 3 of the last 5. With Tyreek Hill out, Jalen Waddle's the dude. Now, the problem with this matchup is the weather. The Cleveland Browns are a good defense, but that weather might be a better defense. It's not just the rain. The wind's going to be 25-mile-an-hour gusts. That's crazy. They're not going to be able to send it downfield. It's going to be short stuff and running the ball. I think he should be solid, but it's going to be more of a high reception game than a deep pass kind of game. Where my chain at? I ain't got my chain on. Oh, that's way better. Lad McConkey had his best game of the season. 7 for 100 and a touchdown. Good job. Now, Quentin Johnston was out, which led to more targets. Curious to see how he is this week if QJ is back. I do think Quentin will probably be on a snap count because he's coming back from a hamstring and you don't really want to rush him back. So I think this should still be a good game for him. And the matchup's fantastic. The Colts allow the second most points to the wide receiver position. So I think Lott should be pretty good this week. Xavier Worthy's going to slide into that wide receiver 2 slot just right. I didn't really feel like he was a 1. I think he's going to be a really good 2. Will his production go down? Yeah, but he's still so explosive that he can always pop off. Plus, this is the biggest spread of the week. 11.5 points. Second highest implied point total, meaning Vegas thinks the Chiefs are going to score. Worthy's going to be a solid start. Brian Thomas Jr. had a terrible start to the year, but he finally had a great game. 8 for 90 and a touchdown. Loved the 10 targets. Back-to-back games with 80 yards or more. Keep it up, young blood. A.J. Brown has been getting his targets recently. He's had 8 or more in 5 straight games. In the last 3 weeks, he's had the 9th most targets in the league, but he's 22nd in receptions. Means he's not converting those targets into catches. Now, are they all perfect targets? No, but 8 targets a game is still really solid. I'm a bit concerned this week because this matchup is terrible. The Vikings are incredible against the wide receiver. They're one of the worst defenses to go up against as a receiver. That's why he's a solid start, not a must start. Teteroa McMillan finally got a touchdown. And not just one, he got 2 of them things. But you do still need to get your receptions up, young blood. He only had 3 catches. But it's not like they're not trying to get him the ball. He has the 10th most targets on the year with 47. Second in red zone targets. They are running the ball a lot better now, so I'm curious to see if this becomes more of a rushing team than a passing team. Also, you get to take the ball out of Bryce Young's hands. I do think this is probably going to be a down week for him, though. Getting shadowed by Sauce Gardner, no bueno. Y'all saw what he did to Cortland Sutton last week, right? Stephon Diggs only had 28 yards last week after having back-to-back weeks with over 100. I was really surprised he only got 3 targets. I do think he bounces back going up against the Tennessee Titans, who don't really scare you. He is questionable with a chest injury right now. He was limited in practice on Thursday. You're going to want to monitor that. Quentin Johnston was top 5 weeks 1 through 4. I'm not putting him right back up there because he's coming off a hamstring injury, and I'm not overly confident in dudes coming off a hamstring injury to be their best selves. So he's down here in solid start territory. But he still has top 5 upside. Great matchup going up against the Colts, allowing the second most points to the wide receiver position. If he plays, fire him up. Michael Pittman Jr. was horrific last week. 2 receptions for 2 yards, you kidding me? And this week he gets a terrible matchup going up against the Chargers. The Chargers are the 3rd hardest matchup against the wide receiver position. You really hope he gets into the end zone. He's had a touchdown 3 of the last 4 games. He is the clear number 1 wide receiver, but not the number 1 target on this team. That's Tyler Warren. It is the 3rd highest over-under, so some points are getting scored in this one. Hopefully they go to Pittman. Moving on to the flexes. Week 7 wide receiver flex plays. Jeffrey?
Keenan Allen. Mike Evans.
Kendrick Bourne.
Marvin Harrison Jr. Jameson Williams. Devonta Smith. Romeo Doubs. Wandale Robinson. Jordan Addison.
Keenan Allen has had 3 straight games with less than 11 fantasy points. The targets are still there. The production just isn't. That's why I had to put him down in the flexes. On the year, touches are great. 7th in targets, 10th in receptions, 3rd in red zone targets. He can still produce, but he's less consistent, so I'm not saying he's a solid start. He's a flex play though, especially in the 3rd highest over-under of the week. Welcome back, Mike Evans. They didn't put you on IR for a reason. Good to see you back, sir. Right now, he's questionable with a hamstring injury. He was limited in practice on Thursday. That being said, we play on Monday, so it's slightly less urgent for him to be full go on Thursday. It's a great matchup going up against the Detroit Lions. They allow the 3rd most points to the wide receiver position, 2nd highest over-under of the week at 52.5. Let's go. There will be some points scored in this one. Hopefully some of them come to you. Kendrick Bourne has balled out in back-to-back weeks. 142 yards in both games? First off, amazing to get over 100 in back-to-back games, but 142 on a dot twice? Crazy work. I think one was with 10 receptions and one was with 5 receptions, but regardless, you're balling, kid. With Brock Purdy, Ricky Pearsall, Juwan, and Kittle all questionable, who knows who starts? I think Brock's going to be out. I think Ricky Pearsall's going to be out. Juwan Jennings probably plays. And I think they're going to have a hard time getting Kittle to not play this game. But still, Kendrick Bourne should ball. Marvin Harrison Jr. coming off of concussion protocol. I think he should get cleared to play. And if he does, I think he's about a flex play. Not overly excited, but he can always get it done. Jacoby Brissett isn't a terrible backup. That Packers defense is pretty good, though. Welcome to the party, Jameson Williams. He's the definition of boom bust. He's had 4 games with below 7 fantasy points and 2 games with above 18. Boom or bust. Below last week, his receptions were super low. 2, 2, 2, 1. Are you kidding me? Those are terrible numbers. He's really situational. You want to play him when the over-under is high because he can always catch a deep one. It just happens to fall into play this week. Could he have back-to-back good games? Tied for the 2nd highest over-under of the week going against my Buccaneers. Could happen. That's why he's a flex play. Devontae Smith has been extremely inconsistent. Very up and down. In the last 4 weeks, 2 games above 19 fantasy points and 2 games below 9. And this is a bad matchup against the Vikings, so I'm not overly excited about it, honestly. Romeo Doubs is clearly the number 1 wide receiver on this team right now. I love the targets, back-to-back games with 8 or more targets, but in order for him to have a great game, he's pretty touchdown dependent. But he is first in end zone touchdowns. At some point, they're going to get the kid more involved, though. Matthew Golden, yeah, he's coming. Wan'Dale Robinson is the guy without Malik Neighbors there. Back-to-back games for 7 targets. Last week, he went 6 for 84 and a touchdown, but the Broncos are great against the wide receiver position, allowing the 4th fewest fantasy points to the wide receiver. I don't think Pat Surtain's going to follow him around, though, because Wan'Dale plays out of the slot, and Pat Surtain normally works with the outside wide receivers, so he should be fine. Jordan Addison has had back-to-back games with 15 or more fantasy points, and the Eagles are pretty good against the wide receiver, but Quinyon Mitchell should be on Justin Jefferson, so theoretically that should open up Jordan Addison a bit. He should be a fine play. Moving on to the questionable flexes. Week 7 questionable flex wide receivers. Jeffrey?
Jacoby Myers,
Sterling Shepard,
DJ Moore, Matthew Golden, Jalwan Jennings, Trey Tucker, Cooper Kupp, Christian Kirk, Travis Hunter,
Jordan Whittington, Tutu Atwell, Tej Johnson, and Cameron Johnson. Jacoby Myers hasn't had 10 fantasy points in a month. And 4 receptions a week is not going to get it done, man. Plus, this is a bad matchup. At the moment, he's questionable with a knee or toe injury. He didn't practice on Thursday. I am hearing whispers that there may be a trade in the mix. So you may not want to drop him in case he goes to a good team, but you don't have to play him because my goodness, is he not been good. Sterling Shepard's going to be the next man up. Yes, Mike Evans is back, but Emeka Egbuka and Chris Godwin are projected to be out. Plus, Bucky Irvin's going to be out. They got to throw it to somebody. I think it's going to be between Sterling Shepard and these 2 flyers down here, Tej Johnson and Cameron Johnson. Johnson and Johnson. Tej Johnson is hilarious. He's the one that thought that they were chanting MVP last week. That was hilarious. Also, sick backflip, kid, but stay healthy. We need you. Our receivers dropping like flies. DJ Moore may have finished the game last week, but apparently he went to the hospital with a groin injury? What? I missed that one. I didn't hear about that one till way after the game. I'm surprised he finished. But he's still questionable with the hip/groin injury. He was limited in practice on Thursday. I don't know if he does or doesn't play. Either way, I'm not excited about it. He has not been good in a very long time. He's wide receiver 2, but barely. You probably have a better option. Matthew Golden had the best game of his career coming off the bye. Typical for a rookie. They scheme you up a little better during the bye week. He had over 100 total yards. Let's go. They've missed him on a few deep passes in the previous weeks. They're going to connect with one of those, and you're going to be happy about it. The kid's coming.
Jalwan Jennings.
He's dealing with a lot of injuries. He's limited with an ankle, ribs, shoulders. I'm really concerned about playing him. There should be a lot of targets to go around, though, because I don't think Ricky Pearsall is going to play. Brock Purdy's probably out. I think George Kittle should be back. So it's really going to be Kittle, him, and Kendrick Bourne, who's been playing great. He's definitely a questionable flex. I'm a little nervous about him, mainly just because all the injuries, man. Trey Tucker's had back-to-back games with 11 or more fantasy points, plus 60 or more receiving yards. Cooper Kupp had his first touchdown of the season, but he only had 2 receptions. He hasn't had 60 or more receiving yards in over a month. And this is a terrible matchup against the Texans. Oh my goodness, come on! Cooper, be more involved. Christian Kirk has a great matchup going up against the Seattle Seahawks. They don't scare you. Plus, I feel like he's kind of sneaky. They keep saying they want to get Travis Hunter more involved. I kind of want to see it before I throw him into a lineup, but I think it's coming. Jordan Whittington and Tutu Atwell need to step up with Puka Nacua out. No one can fill the role of Puka Nacua, but I think they'll split his targets and be fine. Assuming Tutu plays, I think Jordan's fine. Alec Iamander should be used more often with Calvin Ridley questionable. I think he might be out this week. And if he is, Iamander should fill in that role. He plays against the New England Patriots. I'm hoping that he doesn't get followed. Christian Gonzalez, because that would be bad. But still, we're in the flyer territory. You need people getting targets. He'll get some targets. So let's do a recap for week 7. Week 7 wide receiver tiers. Must starts.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jackson Smith-Njigba. Devontae Adams. Drake London. CeeDee Lamb. Justin Jefferson. George Pickens. Rashee Rice. Nico Collins. Rome Odunze.
Solid starts.
Chris Olave. Cortland Sutton. Deebo Samuel. Jalen Waddle. Lad McConkey. Xavier Worthy. Brian Thomas Jr. AJ Brown. Teteroa Macmillan. Stephon Diggs. Quentin Johnston. Michael Pittman Jr.
Flex plays.
Keenan Allen. Mike Evans.
Kendrick Bourne.
Marvin Harrison Jr. Jameson Williams. Devonta Smith. Romeo Doubs. Wandale Robinson. Jordan Addison.
And questionable flexes.
Jacoby Myers.
Sterling Shepard.
DJ Moore. Matthew Golden. Jalwan Jennings. Trey Tucker. Cooper Kupp. Christian Kirk. Travis Hunter.
Jordan Whittington, Tutu Atwell, Tej Johnson, and Cameron Johnson. Who do I have too high? Who do I have way too low? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and the notification bell down below. I'll be throwing my Discord down in the description. If you have any questions, hit me up. Good luck in your matchup this week, Bay Nation. Peace.